Guys, it's your boy Darnell, aka Miss Z. That's what they call me in the street sometimes. Sometimes they call me bitch, sometimes they call me slut, sometimes they call me it. And this is my story. So hi guys, how are you today? Yes, everybody's here. We're gonna have a discussion, a very good discussion today. We have Delmar, good friend of ours, and Papa Flo. You there?
Yeah, I'm here.
And the wonderful and the beautiful Rochelle Hunter Mosley. You know, I always get that wrong. I tell her she has 7 names for no reason. But Rochelle, Dr. Rowe, Charlie Cream, Salon 804, model, Dark and Lovely. The list goes on and on. But we're here today as a family to talk about things that you can do with a child that you might have during this COVID-19, this pandemic, this economic crisis, this healthcare crisis, all of the stuff that's going on right now. You know, people need an outlet and a way to talk. And we wanted to do a piece on things that you can use or tools that you can use to help that child or deal with that child or that child deal with you during the pandemic. So our good friend Delmar and his father Flo. Flo is going to tell us about some of the things that were challenging and non-challenging, and the things that you use in general for your child to become the beautiful, talented, amazing person that he is.
Darnell, let's start first with the challenges that you had as a child.
I had challenges as a child. I would say mine didn't really come from my parent. But I would say the challenge for me came when my body started to change. Because I wasn't always a heavy child. I was slim, not slim. You know, you grow up, you're skinny, you run around, you're playing football. I was always a big kid, but then I developed breasts. And that opened it up to a whole different kind of thing when that happened, you know, and that's when it became like a challenge, because you have predators, you have priors, you know, you have people who prey on people who are special, who are in the life, who are gay, who are straight, you know, you have people who prey on kids. You get what I'm saying to you? And it made me be like, okay, I'm this big thing, I'm loud, and now I have breasts, you know? So I had to learn how to deal with that, and, you know, how it's gonna mold me into becoming who I am, you know? Because then you have teasing, you have bullying, you know, you have your mother, friends, and family like, wow, you know, he's getting big. Yes, I get it, but he getting titties, you know, that kind of thing. It's like, you know, it adds injury to the situation, you know? So once I went through puberty and stuff like that, I mean, I've always been a funny loudmouth, you know, I ain't letting nobody bully me and shit anyway, you know, but it just added something extra to becoming who you are. And now I embrace it. I love my breasts. I'm Anna Nicole Smith, you know. That was, I would say, in my, because I've always been Darnell, but in like sexuality and learning who you are and learning who you're becoming, that kind of put like, oh, wow, you know, where did these come from? I always wanted to be a girl, but, you know, I didn't ask for a rap.
What piqued my interest for this conversation was really your response. Was your mother's response to you when you told her?
My mother never stopped loving me, no matter what her child looked like or what her child had. So for me, it was, you know, I don't know. When we get there, we'll find out. But she never be like, oh, you want to be this and throw me out, or, you know, do the whole norm of how every other, you know, gay child sometimes grow up, you know, with their parents or their family or their friends turning their backs on them and treating them like monsters and mutants and all that kind of stuff. You know, she let me be no matter what, I was who I was, because I was who I was before that body change, or before I was coming into adulthood and all that kind of stuff, you know? Like I said on the video, I've been who I've been since I came out my mother's womb. I mean, you practically know what your child is going to be, or you know who your child is. It's the way that you handle it. And she didn't handle it by treating me like I was any less of a person, because that was going on. Because at the end of the day, we're all in God's hands, and that's what people tend to forget, you know? So, Flo,
Yes.
Like Rochelle asked, what were the things that you noticed and how did you start to appreciate or work on it from when Delmar was younger or anything like that?
Well, growing up, I was first trying to push him into football and stuff like that, and he wasn't interested at all. You know, I came up
I played
playing
football
football.
too.
Yeah, I came up playing football, baseball, basketball, all that. High school playing baseball and football, and we would go out. And Delmar had the size, but it was something he totally was not interested in, and I was cool with that. We put him in other things. He did Boy Scouts. He excelled in that. He did karate. He excelled in that. So he was more artistic. You know, he didn't want to do nothing to beat his body up and all that kind of shit. And I get it. Looking back, he was probably smarter than I was because I walk around and shit for football. But Delmar went away to college, and when he came back, that's when he came out to me. He told me that, you know, I'm not interested in girls. And the way he did it, I was like, damn, he came out like a real fucking man. I mean, I couldn't expect him to do it in the better the way he did it. And at first, we go out and I see females literally want to sleep with them and go out with them, and I say, damn, you know, she's trying to get with you. He's like, yeah, I ain't interested. And the second time I did it, he said, no, that's just not my cup of tea. And I was like, you know what? This is what it is. So I actually have one of the best sons I think a man could possibly have. He's a beautiful person inside out. I just had to come to grips with, you know, him not wanting females. I mean, it was different from me because I love females. So it's like it's like, you know, I like Coca-Cola and he like 7-Up. So I mean, that just is what it is. And I love him to no end. And with that, I never beat him up about it, never worried him about it, never pressured him. When after the second time I said something about a female, and he was like, "No, that's not my cup of tea." I was it for me. I'm like, "Okay, this is where we're going." And he's stuck to that. He don't go back and forth. None of that shit. He is what he is, and that's my man. So that's where I'm at with it.
Love you too,
That's so
Dad.
dope. That's so dope. I was saying to me and Rochelle, we thought about doing this because a lot of people do not realize that, you know, everything is, they say it takes a village. It starts at home. Could you imagine if Delmar didn't have a father like you to come to and be like, this is what it is. This is what it's going to be. Don't ask me again. And, you know, he felt comfortable enough. It's dope that Delmar, that you felt comfortable enough. Like, I could just go to my father like this. You know, I know that's a Pisces thing too, because, you know, we grown, we years ahead of our time. So you
Right,
wouldn't
we're gonna
care
do what
less
we
what
want to
was
do
going.
anyway.
Right, you was going to let him know regardless, and however he took it. But I'm gonna let you know what's going on, and you're gonna love me regardless, because that's
Right.
just what type of person I am. And I come from you, and you raised me in this manner. And your father, you know how many kids pray and wish for that, and there's a lot of kids out there that's not doing that. What I want to say was, if you don't have a parent like Flo or my parent or my mother, you usually, that leads to economic insecurity. It leads to violence and harassment. It leads to religious intolerance, criminal injustice, and, you know, that makes the kids, you know, people wonder where housing and houses and Vogue and all of that lifestyle and ballroom scene and all that comes from. And
Yeah.
that's where all of that stuff comes from. You know, that's why you have these kids that band together because they're in the streets. It's scary, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Delmar, what did that do for you? That Flo was so open to you being who you was.
You know, it meant a lot to me because, you know, I had, honestly, both parents, my mom and my dad, were, you know, pretty accepting when I did come out to them. You know, it took a long time for me to feel comfortable to do that because I knew I, you know, wasn't into girls for years. But first, you know, I wasn't really being even sexually active until I went to college. So I was like, there's no need for me to even talk about this if I'm not even doing anything. But, you know, once I did go away to college and I was like, sorry, I just got a call. So then I was like, you know, yeah, this is definitely, you know, where I'm going to go with this is who I am for sure. And, you know, I'm going to end up being with the man, marrying a guy, and it's just gonna be, my life. I was like, let me just come out to them, and they were both accepting. And then having that, kind of solidarity, that security there with your parents is really reassuring, because you feel like, hell, if my parents accept me, then it don't matter what anybody else has to say.
And
Because like that's who raised you. That's that's your family. So yeah, it's definitely it meant a lot. And
I don't think people of our community really realize what they're doing when there's when they turn their backs on you for being gay.
Turn away. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I don't think people really understand the dangers. It's drugs, it's prostitution, it's homelessness, it's not taking care of yourself, it's HIV, it's AIDS, all kind of STIs, doing anything to stay above ground. Not saying that, and that's just like that equals to preteen pregnancy. And, girls being fast and being thrown out on the streets and becoming, whatever the street is. Like, the streets is very dangerous for any child, no matter what sexuality that they is. Flo, what is your advice, or what do you feel like something a parent should know with their child in COVID, like during this COVID thing right now, if they're dealing with a child that's coming into their own and learning what gender they want to be, or non-binary and fluid and open, all these names that they have for being for who you want to be? What's your advice to a parent that might be dealing with a child that they feel is going to be gay?
Okay, let me share this with you. The one person that I talked to about the situation had a gay son. He did it all the wrong way. I don't fuck with him. I'm gonna beat his ass and the whole nine. He did it all the wrong way. That's the person I had to talk to, and he was like, "Bruh, I did it all wrong. It's your child. You got to love your child." I said, "You're exactly right. That's why I met with it." His son just passed last month. However, he had a great relationship. He had a great relationship with him after they got back together and made amends. And he was like, "Son, I'm wrong. I'll tell you who you are." His son was in Vegas, and the son just passed away last month. And me and this guy, we still talk, and we were tight. He's the one person that I talked to when I first found out about Delmar. And since that time, I've had several female friends and guy friends come to me because their child is gay. All I tell them is, that's your child. You got to love your child, because your child because you don't agree with what they're doing, or you don't understand why they're doing. Well, everything is for you to understand. Delmar can tell you what I'm gonna eat, what I'm gonna drink. He can tell you what I'm gonna say. A lot of times, he just happens to like something that I don't understand. You get what I'm saying? It's not my cup of tea. That's his cup of tea. But that's my son. You have to love your child, and that's the bottom line. The bottom line is giving your son that comfort, or daughter that comfort and understanding that you're going to be there, and no matter what. And that's the way you're supposed to carry it.
Right, because I always say that it's a. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I said, you can't beat it out of them. You can't make them change. That's bullshit. That even sounds crazy. So it is what it is. Once you understand, and that's the way they choose it. Delmar has a mate right now that I like. I like him. So I get it. You get what I'm saying? So I mean, good people like good people, and that's the way it is. So they live that lifestyle. I'm good with that. Now the thing is, if people are trapped in a place with their child, you have to understand that's your child. They just think differently, and we got a whole community coming up that thinks that way. You understand what I'm saying? We got it's a whole. I don't know if it was something done in the brain for the cartoons, or what transformed, or what happened. I don't know what went on, but it's a whole society of gay people up, and that's just the way it is.
Yeah.
Delmar, how did that help with you? You having your father's backing. How did that help you career-wise and jobs and with things like that? Because people don't understand, like you said, if you have the confidence that if my parents accept me and love me, I can face anything.
Right.
How did that help you in some of the things that you had to face with life in general?
Yeah, I mean, definitely, even like going on interviews and job hunting. Well, first of all, just having him like being a father figure, and even kind of raising me to be a man and being more of I guess, just having those like manly values like instilled in me, that kind of helped me. I mean, you can obviously be whoever you want, like girly, transgender, whatever, but I feel like having that father figure to kind of raise me to be like, steer me more towards a manly mannerisms kind of helped me like overall, like in society. I mean, that's sad to say, but it's just, it's real. Um, so that's one thing that kind of I feel like helped me be more, I guess, accepted overall. And then also just if you can face your parents and tell them something that you are honestly scared to tell them, you can really do damn near anything.
It gives you that power.
And no matter, sorry, go ahead, Ro.
It gives you that power too.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's kind of like
Right.
your parents give you your cape. It's like
Right.
that's the thing that when you leave the house, you know that you're able to fly because you're getting that support from home. And just like Flo said and Delmar said, it's like we don't care about what everybody else say. As long as our parents are okay with it and our parents are supporting it and we getting that love from home, everything else is, gravy.
Right. Because
So
I'll never
Delmar,
forget the day I did, the day I did, tell them. I told my mom first, and then she was like, yeah, I mean, we kind of talked about it in the past. We pretty much figured, whatever. And she was like, we'll still be here for you. This one should be careful and, all that. And then she was like, did you tell your dad yet? And I was like, no, not yet, but I'm going to tell him. And she was like, okay.
So wait, how did your mother, like, so did that make you, how did that make you feel when she was like, did you tell your father? Okay. I mean, because she's saying like, she know how Flo is. She know how he gives it up. So she's saying like, well, did you tell your father yet? Like,
Yeah, I was like, no, it's going to be a little tough. But I was like, I think it'll be fine, honestly. But I was definitely nervous. And then that day we went to go see him, and she was in the kitchen with us. And then I was like, all right, Dad, I got to tell you something. And then she looked up, she was like, I know it's gonna be today. She like, all right, I'll be back. She left me in there by myself.
She left you.
Went to the living room.
To the walls.
I was like, yeah, really? So he was reading his newspaper, and I was like, yeah, Dad, I'm not interested. I know I was on my own. He was reading his paper, and then he looked up, and he was like, okay, are you sure? You sure about that? And I was like, yeah, I'm pretty sure. And he was like, okay, well, just, be, same thing my mom said, really, just, be safe, be careful, I don't want anything to happen to you. And then that was really that.
So you have both parents. So do you feel like what would be your advice to the child that dealing with coming into their own identity, their own sexual preference, their own, whatever they want to be? What advice would you be to that child that wants to come into the life or is in the life during this pandemic? Like how to deal with that? Because, kids have to be with their parents, not necessarily don't have that freedom now. School is a freedom. Going to be with your friends is a freedom that you can really express yourself, that you can't sometimes do at home. What would your advice be to the child that's dealing with that right now?
Well, really the main thing is no matter what, sometimes you're all you do have if your parents don't back you up. So you have to just stay true to yourself and stay true to who you are. Don't try to mask it. Don't, turn into this DL type of person or, whatever, because you're just doing yourself a disservice. Live in your truth, no matter how hard it might be. Because even though I have had my parents, back me, I've had my own, bouts of things happening or whatever, or discrimination and things like that over the years here and there. But so it's like you're gonna have to constantly, no matter what, you're gonna have to stay true to yourself and who you are. And so even if it is rough being with your parents like in a house during this time, just understand that people do think differently. They might not be as accepting as you want them to be, but you just have to like your guns and be who you are.
Well, just for the record, I'm not a gay woman. However, when I came to New York, that's when I was introduced to the house scene.
The ballroom scene.
The ballroom what is it called? I'm sorry.
The ballroom scene.
The ballroom scene. That's when I was first introduced to it, and I was first introduced to it by the House of Ebony. and they wanted me to walk for them. They wanted me to walk face. So I was in New York modeling, and so I didn't know anything about the ballroom scene at all. But over these past few years, I started to understand and respect the ballroom scene in a different type of way because they are really helping those boys. When I say
Yeah.
family, like to really see that connection with
But it's not just boys, it's girls, it's
it's boys and
everybody.
girls.
It's
Yeah.
Everything.
Mhm.
But
masculine
when
men,
I'm talking
feminine
about
men, trans, it's
my
everybody.
Yep.
experience when I
Mhm.
came in, it was, the Ebony men brought me in. The father of Ebony brought me in. So my connection was with the men that were in the house. And I was the woman of the house. And just to see the camaraderie and the respect and the love and the connection in the ballroom scene, it was amazing. So I understand it on a different level now because now I have a lot more experience with people understanding what they're going through, understanding the problems they're having at home and how much support the kids need. And when I say the kids, I'm not just saying like the small kids, just the whole community. You guys really need a lot of
Attention, love, affection.
love,
Or,
all of that,
And like
all of that.
any child though, it's not just about a child being, gay, lesbian, trans, queer. It's not just about that. It's all children. Just recently, another reason why when Rosa reached out to do this, I was like, I was reading about, someone sent me something about a pedophilia ring, like, pedophilers and stuff like that. And I don't think people really realize what's going on out here. From politicians to athletes to everywhere, like children are preyed on heavily. And if you don't have a base at home that is strong and supports you, you're going to run out there to the wolves and don't know what to do when you get out there. So that's why parents accepting their children, no matter what their child is overall what you need to do is what we need. Flo, what would what any tips do you have for any parent that might be dealing with a child coming, like you did tell me, but any like tip that stick out in your mind the most that they can take away from this, like what they can get away from to use the most out of
hello?
what you experienced with Delmar?
Yeah. Well, the main thing is this: just realizing that's your child that came from you, and you gotta love them. Just might not be something you understand, but you just got to love them. That's the bottom line. Like I said, I've had friends that call me, and the bottom line is you just got to love your child. That's it. If they don't have you, they don't have who they got. They got to face enough shit out in the street. You don't want them out in the street and dealing with shit daily and on their own and thinking they got to come home and get beat up about this shit too. Oh, that's just too much. It's way too much. Now, given like Delmar said to tell me, I'm one of those. Well, how to put it? What you don't know down there is, I was president of a motorcycle club, so I'm a little different from just a father to go back and forth to work. I'm in the street. I came from the street, the whole nine, and that's what Delmar knows. So it's kind of another thing, another element to that. But what you have to do is understand that, this is my child, so I've got to change my mindset. I've got to understand that this is the way he want to be, and that's it. So, and that's the bottom line. Sometimes we have to change within ourselves because our children are not going to change. That's where they are. So we have to make the change. So you have to make the change within yourself. And Delmar, I can tell you, I'm a lot nicer person than I was back then even. I've changed myself mentally, just trying to be a better person overall. So
when I called, when I wanted to put this conversation together and I called Delmar, I was like, Delmar, do you think that your dad would talk to us about this? He goes, yeah, but like, why not? I said, you know your dad. I know your dad. I said, I don't want him to cuss me out.
Right.
Because that's the old flow. That's the
Right.
old flow.
Right.
And everybody is open to change.
Yes, open to change.
Right.
But the
Exactly.
thing that really sticks out for me from this conversation, from what Flo is saying, is that him allowing himself to accept support.
Right.
Reaching out to people for support. not hiding, because what happens
Mhm.
is that once you bring it out,
Oh my God.
oh God,
You okay?
Sorry. Go ahead.
are you okay, honey? Because once you bring it out to the forefront, you realize that there's so many other people suffering from the same thing.
Right.
Mhm.
Just
So
like
many
I
other
said,
people that need to talk about the same thing. And everybody is trying to figure out who's going to say it first. Because people see your kids and be like, oh, Delmar looks, what you call it? Or this, um,
and I don't understand why that's
what
such
you
a
call it?
coming.
And it makes you very uncomfortable, because you want to have that conversation, because they feel the same thing about their child, but they don't know how to
Mhm.
come. Flo is a man.
Right. Right.
Who would
Mhm.
step to
Yep.
him and say anything about Delmar? They might be silently saying it, but they would never step to. They would never even think that he's having an issue. But when he brought it to the forefront, be like, "Yo, he's president of the motorcycle club, and his son is gay, and he's okay. Like he didn't die. It did. It didn't
Well,
Yeah.
we
kill
know
him."
it's well. You want to be technical. Some
What?
of them on a motorcycle.
That's
Some of
another
them on
show.
the motorcycles might be shifting their gears.
Don't talk about that
That's another
club.
show.
Talk about that
Because
club.
the one thing I can tell you in this conversation right now, the gays love a leather chap, and so does the motorcycle.
Yeah.
Delmar, any key thing that stuck out to you that from Flo and your mother and them that you might want to advise a child right now, like we said, going through this pandemic and becoming who they are, the one key thing you feel like they need to deal with this now and after pandemic and things like that, like anything like you feel the key thing out of what you got from your parents that might help another child.
I mean, the key thing really is just the support, honestly, and just knowing that someone is there to have your back. So if you can't get it from your parents, then like we talked about the ballroom scene, you need to find your own tribe. And as sad as it might be, if it's not coming from home, you have to find the support elsewhere. And even in this pandemic, we have Zoom, we have FaceTime, we have all these things. You have to find your own tribe. Instagram, Twitter, find your people, find people that you connect with that have the same views as you, or into the same things, just across the board. And then you don't feel alone. That's the important thing for me.
Right.
Yeah, my thing from it is, like I said to you earlier, I didn't have a mother that was um she wasn't like, oh, you're gay, this kind of this. I just always more or less been Darnell, fat, funny, loudmouth ass, feisty,
Right.
everybody loved me. Like it didn't really have the context wasn't my sexuality, It's like Darnell's gonna be Darnell regardless, whatever he is gonna be, and we just have to accept it no matter what. He's gonna make us accept it. And that's just all that it has to do. But it's very important for our community to have this narrative. Is very important. I've seen a lot of friends, a lot of family, a lot of strangers, a lot of people just dwindle out here into the streets because they don't have that base at home. And I don't
Right.
think that people really realize how dangerous. They just think like, oh, he's gay, he's just gonna go out there and just go do what you're gonna do. But they do not understand what type of a danger they're really putting their child into. You get what I'm saying to you? And like you said, not having those protections and that support, like I said, leads your child into drugs, risque sex, all these kind of things that the gay community really deals with that doesn't really get a light shined on it, And now with the shows like Pose and this new voguing show that they have on HBO and all this kind of thing is getting a light and getting getting love. It's very important for us to still, talk the truth about what is possibly going on with some,
Right.
Tell them your Instagram and stuff, Jalmar, where they can find out, reach out to you. If anybody's watching this and might want to ask you any questions. And Flo,
Right.
if you have one, or where they can find you at also.
Yep, I'm Delmar Maurice on Instagram. And it's the same across the board. Yeah, I think
Okay.
Facebook and Instagram is the same. Delmar Maurice.
And Flo, if any parents want to reach out
Yeah.
to you or anything like that, if you're open to that.
Yeah, I'm on Facebook at Flo Flanoy. Flo Flanoy. Flournoy. Flournoy.
I'm Darnell, aka Miss D, at Insta Edge on Instagram. Facebook kicked me off.
No wonder why.
I think a great takeaway for the is the thing that attracted me to have this conversation. And when you told your younger self, if you had an advice for your younger self, what would it be? And the thing that touched my heart is when you said, you wish you would have come out sooner.
Mm-hmm.
And that really touched my heart.
So it's basically the earlier the better, because it just helps mold you into who you're really going to have to be.
Right.
You don't really have to battle with putting on these clothes I don't want to, or hanging with this group because I want to look like this or seem like I'm this, or putting on a do-rag and I sound like this and I'm ready to vote femme queen bottom, and femme queen bottom and all that kind of stuff. It just helps the child or the person or the thing or whatever they want to be, non-binary, gender fluid, whatever it is, as a human being, be who they want to be. I still have my insecurities and I have my securities, but now I'm weighing more on my securities instead of more on my insecurities. I'm not worried about, is my nipples hard in this t-shirt? I'm not worried about why I sound like this. I'm not worried about why I got the blonde hair, And it was a certain group of friends, honestly, that helped me with that too. And the one person I always say that I met that made me go, oh, wow, you really can do this, is my friend Jeffrey Williams. Because Jeffrey came from New York, from Seattle, and was this exotic, beautiful looking thing where you didn't know what gender Jeffrey was. And Jeffrey walked through the projects, through the Jamaican party, through FIT, through the ballroom scene, through the fashion world. And I've never, ever, ever seen anybody that can float like a butterfly like that. And once I met him and I seen that, and I said, well, hey, we all can do this. Like without a fear, without a doubt. And that was because his parents were so loving and affectionate and showing him that love that he needed and that support and that protection, And it made me become who I am even more,
right.
Because I'm like, if somebody can come from Seattle and pump through the Far Rockaway projects, my grandmother bar on Church Avenue with the Jamaicans, you get what I'm saying to you? Bed-Stuy, the hood, like Jeffrey was everywhere. Long hair, skinny Prince clothes on, crop tops, everything. Nobody said nothing.
Right.
Nothing.
Yeah. Well, we all know what fear is. Fear is false evidence appearing real.
And fear got us going on with this madness right now. Yeah. So could you imagine fear about a pandemic, fear about being who you are sexually, fear about being Black, fear about being a man, fear about, it's crazy. People, we need more conversations like this. And I thank you guys for having the conversation with us today. Delmar, you already know that I love you. Flo, yes. Nice meeting you. And maybe you can get my big ass on a motorcycle.
I can ride you on mine.
And Rochelle Hunter Mosley, thank you guys. And as I said, they put up their Instagrams. If you have any questions, have any comments, you can DM us, all of us, Facebook us, find us. You could do whatever. But we're going to try to have these conversations every other week, every other month, about the things that affect our community in general. Not just gay, straight, white, Black, purple, or green, but affect us as human beings. We need that conversation, especially for Black and brown people. Thank you guys so much.
Thank
you, D.
All right, you're welcome. Thank you.
Right.
Thank you.
Be safe.
Bunny, bitch. I'll find her wherever. Dear Craigslist, come back to us, please.